friends. Welcome back to Online Story Time. It's so good to see you today. Let's have a shout out again today to some of our regular viewers, CJ and Christian and Aaliyah, and I hope others of you will let us know you're watching so that we can yell out to you too, see what you're up to. Today's book is called Otto the Book Bear. This is one of my favorite books by Cleminson, and we'll take a look at this book today. So, Otto the Book Bear. Our cover kind of tells us about our main character, Otto. All right, and we're going to open it up. And of course, what we see inside front cover are books on the shelf. Otto the Book Bear. And here we go to the title page. And here we are. Once upon a time, Otto was a book bear. When no one was looking, he came to life. Otto loved to explore the house, to read his favorite stories, and practice his writing. But one day, something terrible happened, and Otto was left behind. Otto didn't like being all alone, so he made a plan, packed a bag, and set off on a new adventure. But the world outside made Otto feel very small. Nobody seemed to notice him. Otto began to search the city, hoping to find a new place to live. But nowhere he went felt like home. It was too busy, too wet, too cold, too smoky, too high, too windy, and too unwelcoming. Otto didn't like living in the city, and he missed his warm book. He was starting to feel downhearted, but he decided to pick up his bag and keep on walking. And just when he thought he couldn't walk any farther, when he felt cold and tired, Otto saw a place full of light and hope. He went inside and found rows and rows of books. Otto began to climb, and there, at the end of the shelf, he saw something. Could it be? It was another book bear. The other bear shook Otto's paw and said, "I'm Ernest. How do you do?" Otto's new friend showed him around the library, and he discovered it was full of book creatures just like him. Together with Ernest, he could once again read his favorite stories, practice his writing, and try out all kinds of exciting things. And the best was, now Otto had lots of readers, and that made him the happiest book bear of all. The end. Now I want to go back and I want to look at a couple of pages with you because I want to be sure that you saw Otto in these pages, because Otto, he was very small. And so when he was out in the city, were you able to see him? His family moved and left him because he was a book bear. He lived in a book. But there goes the moving van. and Otto was all alone. So out the window he went with his bag, and look, do you see him? Do you see him down in the corner and how tiny he is with all the people walking by? Do you think that maybe the little girl sees him? But no one else does. They're all too tall and too busy and walking along. Do you see him here? And here? And then he's up on the roof here? And the cats were not interested in Otto at all. So Otto was really feeling pretty bad. Here he is in a cup that's been left on the street in the trash with an apple core and a box and some papers. He's really beginning to feel like he's never going to have a new home. And what building does he see? It's the library. So Otto has found the library where there are so many wonderful books and so many characters. Now in our story, which isn't real of course, but in the story the characters are like Otto. They come out of the book and they have a great time when no one else is around. Now we know that that doesn't really happen, but we do love all the characters in our books, just like Otto. So there he is with all the characters. There's Humpty Dumpty. Did you see him up there? How about that? So there's lots of characters for Otto to hang out with in the library, and lots of characters for you to hang out with in the library. Let's take a look at that over here on our word board. So when you go to the library, when school starts again and when the public library opens again and you go back, you can go to the library and look for books on all kinds of subjects. You could look for a book on plants or gardening. Spring is coming. The gardens are going to go open up again. You could find a book about, let me just put them down here, the weather. Why does the weather change the way it does? How does climate work, and what's the difference? You might like books about Olivia. There are lots of books about Olivia in the library. You might like books about history, American history or world history, or even Frederick history. A lot of you like Pete the Cat. You could find a Pete the Cat book at the library. There's a series of books called I Survived, and I bet a lot of our 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders have read some of those books. I have some of those books here in our library, on our library cards as well. Younger readers might like the Llama Llama books. Those are favorites. And oh, how about Elephant and Piggy? And we have a lot of those here in our room as well, ready for you to read. You might like to read a book about sharks or a book about owls. You might like to look for a book that talks about feelings. Why do we feel the way we do? How about science books? You might be interested in learning about how things work. How about books about food? You might like a cookbook to learn how to cook something. ABC books, so you can learn your ABCs and lots of words. How about a book of jokes? Could be very funny. There are books about adventure, going off and doing different things and having an adventure. There are mysteries. I like to read mysteries. You don't know what's going to happen until the end. Maybe you like the Diary of a Wimpy Kid books. There's a whole series of those. You might like books about pets and other animals. Books about Native Americans. Books about bears. How about a book about pirates? Pirate stories. And even books about places to go and visit, like the desert, which is a different climate from ours. So all of those are books you might find in the library if you go. Now, one of the things that Otto learned when he found his way to the library was he found that he made new friends there. I want to take a minute and talk about making friends and how we keep friends. So we have some very good ways. These are not sticking very well today. Some very good ways to make new friends. What do when we want to make new friends? We always use our manners. We have to be polite to the people that we're friends with. We want to take turns playing or picking what to play. We want to take turns talking with each other. We want to ask our new friends what they like to do, not just what we like to do. We want to ask the rules before we join in a game. We want to be ourselves. So Otto met Ernest, and they found out they had a lot of things in common. But Otto was himself. He knew what he liked to do. And then when you are playing, you want to be sure you don't get too rough when you play. And the last thing we want to remember is that sometimes we get frustrated with our friends and our brothers and sisters. And so we want to breathe when we're frustrated and not be angry, but rather calm ourselves down and figure out what it is that's frustrating us that might make us angry. And this is very important right now while we're spending a lot of time inside with our families. So we want to be sure that we're breathing and trying to be calm and not arguing and not fighting with our brothers and sisters and making life more difficult because we're inside a lot right now. And the good news is that we have lots of books and lots of ways to find new things to do. So there are always books. And you know, you don't even have to go to the library. If you have a computer, if you have access to a computer or a tablet and you're looking for some of these books, you can find a lot of these books at the library right on the computer. There are free books that you can go on and read, as well as lots of other read-alouds like I'm doing, and other websites with authors who are doing things from their books and drawing and doing all kinds of interesting things. So you can learn a lot while you are home. So thanks for listening to Otto the Book Bear today, and we'll look forward to seeing you the rest of the week with some other new books. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. That way we'll know you're out there and we'll be back and forth in communication. Thanks. Bye-bye.